Hello and welcome to the Wheel of Time Rewind podcast. I am your host, Dylan Stoll, and I'm joined by my friend, Michael Whifford.
Hey!
So today, we are going to be getting into some great potential spoilery content, getting into our predictions for Season 2 of the Wheel of Time. It might be off in the distance in some indeterminable date right now, but we are excited to still talk about it, to speculate about it, and to actually use our book knowledge for however much it's worth to try to guess what's going to happen in Season 2 of The Wheel of Time on Amazon. So, before we get any farther, just going to give the typical friendly reminders that if you would like to get in contact with the show, you can email us at wheeloftimerewind@gmail.com. Or if you're on Instagram or Twitter, you can get at us there at WOT Rewind. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into some good spoiler content, talk about our predictions, and Mike, go ahead and let's kick it off with some predictions for Season 2.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to Moiraine threatening Liandrin back in Tar Valon, where she said, you better not say anything, otherwise I'm going to tell about the man you meet at the harbor. And we mentioned it throughout the season, and I don't think this is like a super important theory, but that Liandrin's friend she's meeting with is either a dark friend or a Forsaken, or a Myrddraal, and they're giving her instructions for what to do, because as we know in the books, she is a dark friend.
Correct, yes.
So that's just one theory I have right now going in, is that might get fleshed out. It might be interesting to see if episode 1 and the second season, they kind of do it like in the books with the prologue, where you get like perspectives from different characters. That would be kind of cool. Like during the first episode of the season, if they did like almost like a prologue episode where it's like it's setting up some of the other storylines on top of what's happening. All right, let's hear one from you, Dylan. Then I'll go back. I have 5 more.
You have 5 more. Okay. So I don't have my predictions like numbered or in any kind of order or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
So, but here is one of the predictions that I'm going to make for Season 2. And I'm going to start off with not too like great of a reach.
Build up to it? Okay.
Yeah, build up to it, if you will.
That's where I'm going
So, my first prediction is that Rand will not stay gone for more than 1 episode from the main group.
Oh, that's interesting, because that actually leads into one of my predictions or theories.
Okay, what do you got?
I'll just go into it. I was saying they may have Rand go and meet Elaine in Andor before she goes to the White Tower, and sort of you get the Caemlyn scene, but you but you get it in Season 2 instead of Season 1, kind of in the wrong order, and then that'll lead to her going to the White Tower and meeting up with Egwene and Nynaeve, and you meet Elaida, and so that's kind of get that whole situation going on there. And I actually wondered if they might try to give him more of his own personal quest in this instance, and maybe he would end up in Tyr at the end of this season.
So my whole prediction on why Rand will meet back up with the group fairly quickly is because I am really wanting to see Lan train Rand with the sword.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
So my prediction about Rand coming back together with the main group, now there's some caveats to this, because I don't think that main group will include Nynaeve and Elaine, which is they're going to the White Tower, which I think is a pretty obvious prediction.
Yeah.
And so maybe that should have gone first. But anyways, I think Nynaeve and Egwene will go to the White Tower, train in Tar Valon as accepted to become Aes Sedai.
And they'll meet Min there, and they'll see Min there, and it'll be a familiar face.
Yes,
and then
they'll see Min there, they'll meet Elaine there.
Yeah.
And so my prediction about Lan training Rand in the sword is because in the books, Rand has this Heron marked blade. And a heron-marked blade is the mark of a blade master, and which Tam, Rand's father figure, was. Now,
Did they ever say the significance of that in this first season?
they didn't. They kind of
They said it
mentioned
was
it a
like,
little bit.
yeah,
Like Ishamael, when he was looking at the sword, he's like, huh, a heron-marked blade. Interesting. Like,
Yeah.
looked at him like, did you really earn that? And so Rand does get trained, though, in the books by Lan on how to use the sword. Gets to do all kind of, like, cool names for their forms, the sword forms, like Bull Rushes Down the Mountain, and, like, all kinds of other ones that he uses and starts training to actually try to earn that heron. Because in the books, the heron causes a lot of trouble for Rand, because people look at that and say, oh, damn, you're young to be a blade master. Let me see if you can actually wield it and deserve to have that heron.
huh.
Also, kind of leads to the part about the prophecies of the dragon, with him getting branded by the heron twice on his palms and everything. So I'm thinking that he needs to have some kind of sword training this season. But we'll see how much he actually gets and how long he stays gone, because I really like your prediction for him going to Camelin and meeting Elaine and Galad and Gawain that way.
And he could be trained by someone else. They might
Very true.
shift it over to like Garth Bryn or could be any number of people. Because they obviously don't have a problem with changing these events and switching who does what role, in these roles. And I want to add on to that a little bit. The reason maybe they want to give him his own personal quests and maybe have him separate a little bit is in retrospect, like book 2, when he's going and leading that, it's about him kind of becoming a ruler, right? Mm-hmm. And learning those traits. But he doesn't really need to be there, though, with what they already did in season 1, because they've already made him realize he's the Dragon Reborn. So that was part of the issue with this, too, is like he was going to just help his friend, then he was leaving. And they've gotten rid of both of those motivations, or at least that motivation of trying to help Matt.
Kind of.
Well, yeah, because it's
we'll see if he's still actually attached to the dagger or not.
Yeah, because they've already made him leave, So like Rand's already made that choice. Instead of like staying with him, he's decided to leave. And so I think it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Like maybe he goes and he meets up with Tom earlier on, so they don't have to go a whole season without Tom, or until the end of the season, Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna finish up by saying, but the main purpose I think of maybe having him go a separate route and they could focus on that is because they're going to really give Perrin the job to lead the quest.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say, is that I think that they're going to have Perrin lead the procession to try to recapture the Horn of Valir with the Inktar.
Yeah.
And I think that they will meet up with Matt and Tom and kind of form a little bit of a group there. Mm-hmm. With Matt, Tom, Perrin, Loyal, all going after the Horn of Valir.
Yeah, and I think they'll really give that, because that would give the development to Perrin,
which he
becoming
needs.
this leader. And he really does need that on the screen, but it gives him the role of the leader, which he does need for later on when he becomes the Lord of the Two Rivers.
Right.
So that would actually make more sense, because in reality, Perrin really didn't get that training in the books, and he grumbled all the time about how he was no lord, and it's fine in the books.
All three of the boys did that, though. Matt, Rand, and
true.
Perrin were all like, don't call me a lord, until they finally accepted it.
Yeah, that's true. But this will also allow Perrin to really focus and connect with the wolves and go through that development. I don't think we're going to see... I don't think they would travel into the other world.
So, using the portal stones?
Well, actually, they could. Maybe this is interesting, because this does bring in a whole bunch of other stuff, but like you said before, maybe it's Selene, Rand meets Selene, and he meets someone else that goes along on his quest with him.
Right, because I was thinking if they do it that way, so since we're talking spoiler stuff here,
Yeah.
Selene is Lanfear in disguise. And
That's
so,
my other one.
yeah, it would ruin your other prediction. But
I have a
so
theory,
my
yeah.
thoughts is that if they introduce Selene, that character of Lanfear, and have her be like Rand's companion in this quest, like kind of stroking his ego, trying to get him to go after the Horn of Valir. Mm-hmm. You know, that might be where he meets back up with the rest of the group at like Falma and fights in the sky and battles with Shan-Chan and all kinds of stuff like that, which I hope they keep. But
Yeah. Well,
see.
no, I think they would, because it would, like, their thing with the first book or the first season ending is they wanted to share the glory, right? Mm-hmm. And so in book 2, really, they do each have their own instance where they're earning glory. Like, Matt and Perrin are part of the fight with the Horn. And I think that would be, like, a really important thing to show that we never really got to see in the books, because it was all about Rand's fight. And you didn't really get to see, like, them fighting the Shan-Chan. But you did get to see Nynaeve, Elaine, and Egwene's fight with the Shan-Chan. And so that would be really cool to show that as well. Oh, and Min. That as well. And then you'd have... So you'd be able to really focus in on the fight with the heroes from the Horn and Matt and Perrin and wolves, I'm assuming, at this point, probably, fighting the Shan-Chan. And then you would have Rand maybe in the sky, or it might not be in the sky again. Maybe it's like the sort of same way they did last time.
Which I think would be a mistake if they don't, like, highlight some of that, like, power that
I
Dagny
know.
Reborn
They
has.
really do need to. They really do need to. But if they do happen to do that, like, do a 3-part storyline where you have Moiraine. Oh, that's my other one.
Go for it.
Maureen's going to see the retired sisters.
Oh, absolutely happening. Yes.
And learn how to untie the shield around her. She'll also face off against either Forsaken or at least the Drakkar, maybe a Grey Man. Mm-hmm. That way they can really start to expand on the Dark One's forces. And she'll probably learn some other information about Rand, or to give more exposition. I think that will probably just be Moiraine and Lan doing that, I'd assume. And maybe we meet Varen Sedai as well.
So yeah, I'm thinking about it, and since we think Varen is for sure coming in season 2, and I'm not sure if that's been confirmed or if it's like just highly suspected, the more I'm thinking about it, I don't think Rand is going to get back with the group. I'm just kind of thinking on the spot here and just kind of hearing what you're saying, kind of twisting what my predictions are already. But I think that Moiraine will 100% meet the retired Aes Sedai sisters that will help her explore how to get out of that shield mess that she's in. I'd love it if they included the Drakkar scene, because I think that'd be a great opportunity, like you said, to expand on the Dark One's forces, maybe kill one of the retired sisters' warders, and go from there to show just like how deadly a Drakkar can actually be.
And I mean, honestly, they probably kill one of the retired sisters, or both.
Well, I think
they don't care.
It really depends. They're small later on and everything, but
yeah.
So then this is where I was going with like my change of thought.
Okay.
So if Rand gets back with Perrin and Matt on the hunt for Valir, right?
Yeah.
It might be Inktar that trains Rand in the sword forms.
Yeah.
So
That's
I was
true.
kind of thinking that could be good, but I'm wanting to see Rand train with the sword, basically, is what it comes down to.
Again, they could do the whole thing where it's like 4 weeks later.
They could. Yeah.
Or whatever else. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that with time.
But I'm thinking that the season 2 will wrap up, maybe, at the Battle of Falma, where they kind of repel the Shan-Chan, and Rand defeats Ishamael for the second time. Although I don't know, like, the pacing that they're trying to do, so that might be like a mid-season finale kind of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they do the Fall of Tyr as the finale for season 2, but it just seems like it's not set up yet.
Yeah, I think Falma would be a good season 2 finale. I think they're going to probably keep with those book finales. But, like, really with season 1, all they did is they brought in some other elements from other books. So you don't have to go to every little thing, which makes sense. So I'd be I'd agree with you. I think, like I said, maybe it is like Rand going towards Tyr, or learning about and having to go to Tyr. Does he end up in Kyrian in the second book?
No, not in the second. Well,
yes,
he does. Yes, he does. Because I remember he
so
gets
that could
to
be
Kyrian,
really interesting if because maybe he finds Tom, and then Matt meets him there as well, and it's sort of Kyrian is more the joining
meeting
place
spot,
for them.
Yeah. Because, like, in Kyrian is where he and Selene go to the Illuminators and everything like that.
And that could be a really
chaos.
interesting mid-season sort of interaction, is that whole Kyrianan storyline. Not sure, but we'll see. They may or they may not. And because Kyrian is right by Andor, so that would make sense if Rand did go to those locations. But my next, which also doesn't quite feel as good as when I wrote it, but I was thinking like Elaine and Rand will jump right into a relationship next season. I think we'll see Min, Elaine, and Egwene get to know each other at the tower before being captured by the Seanchan. And Liandrin will still lead them through the ways to that location, kind of being her big reveal as a dark friend. Because I just think that is in the book. That is just something that stuck with me, was that scene when Liandrin leads him out and there's people there and you're like, oh, wait a second, and it's like, oh, she's a dark friend.
Because I'm really wanting more dark friend reveals, and so Liandrin doing this to Elaine and Egwene and Nynaeve, like midway through the season, would be great.
And then we have that one at the end as well.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I think like if Rand does go on his own thing, he's going to find a few of them, and that'll be really interesting as well. And it'll show like him kind of not trusting people. Kyrian, if they do go to Kyrian, that would also be a great place for that, because Rand doesn't know that Padan Thane's a dark friend either. Only Perrin does.
Yeah. Right now, only Perrin and Loyal.
And I mean, Uno, we know, but... and I really do think Perrin's going to replace the Sniffer, or maybe they'll kill off the Sniffer, because he doesn't really play a part after.
Not after book 2. I think he's gone from then on.
Yeah, they might mention him, but yeah, he didn't really have too much of a part, and Perrin really replaces him anyway when
he goes missing with Rand.
Yeah, when he gets his wolf powers.
All right, so speaking of wolf powers, my next prediction is that Elias makes his appearance in season 2.
Oh, interesting.
Again,
how do you think
this
that might
is
happen?
kind of like wishing for this to happen, but also going off of rumors that I heard that Elias was set up to be in season 1, but could not come to film because of COVID. So I'm kind of piecing them together, kind of hoping for my wolf brother friend to come in and join here and teach Perrin the ropes.
Good. I would not mind that at all. I was thinking it might end up just being more like Lord Ingtar had heard about somebody and talk about a situation like that.
Well, and this is where it could go, is if they make Elias the Sniffer.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
It'd be a change that would introduce Elias in that way, but it would also
filling a role and
fill the role of a replaceable level character. Unfortunately, for any fans of our friend the Sniffer,
it would be interesting. I like that idea because it sort of hits two birds with one stone. So I like it. Here's my next one, unrelated to that. But the Seanchan will still take over a large area of land. I don't think, though, that the Children of the Light will really get involved and have a huge force going against them. As much fun as that would be, I just doubt that they would want to put Lord of the Rings level budget fights in the show just yet. I do think we'll still see, obviously, Amon-Valda. He'll show up at some point. I think more with Perrin this time than with the girls. But
agreed.
I don't think they're going to be in there as much as some people might hope.
So my next prediction is that by the end of season 2, Moraine will no longer be shielded.
I think that's
I think
that's
that's
fair.
a given. But
I think that might be
out.
part of that mid-season finale too, or mid-season, like that's a big event as well. Yeah, I wouldn't say past 2 or 3 episodes.
I don't know. I think that they could let it be a little bit of a longer struggle. We saw how long she dealt with being hit by a Trolloc weapon. Who knows
That's
how long
true.
they'll make her suffer under the shield, but she's
That's
not going
true.
past season 2 shielded.
Yeah. I'm just gonna. So this will be my last one, but and then if Dylan has any more, and then we'll get to the Twitter ones. But my last one is one I've been kind of pounding the table for, is that Lanfear will not be cast, but will be implemented in these first 2 seasons here as other people. So Matt, like we talked about, Mask of Mirrors, and it'll be kind of neat because I already think she's appeared with Leandrin. I really, like, that was such odd behavior. Either that or, like, why would Leandrin want Nynaeve to meet up with Loial, you know? Mm-hmm. Whereas we know in the books, Lanfear wanted to help out Randon's friends. And so...
At least a little bit.
At least a little bit, because she wanted to gain his trust and, you know, or at least manipulate events to her, just in her way. I can't really think of any other reason why Leandrin would do that.
I mean, she was kind of trying to win Nynaeve over. I don't know, though.
Yeah. It
felt a little odd.
If it had been done a little bit differently, I think that would have been cool. But I like the idea of doing it this way, because all of a sudden it could be Egwene shows up, or Nynaeve, or whomever coming to talk with Rand, and it's just like they're acting a little bit different, and she's doing it to get a better understanding of him, his temperament, and everything else, and it would just be kind of neat to come back later and see, like, she reveals herself and tells him who she is, and he's like, what? Oh, and she's like, I've been there all along. It's just like flashbacks, and it's like in one of those comedy movies where it's like the spy, and it's like the guy with like this crazy fake mustache is just like behind the person, like looking at him or something, you know? I don't know, but I think it could be kind of cool to do it that way. But I do kind of like our idea of him doing his own solo adventure and Selene being part of that.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, but
all right.
Yeah.
The last prediction I'm going to make here, and again, these are all, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of trying to be a little bit more realistic here. But the last one I'm going to make, I want to try to swing for a little bit bigger. I'm going to try to make up one on the spot.
Okay.
All right. And so for my last one here, again, something I want to see, I'm going to say that the gang will end up in an Ogier setting this season. So I think Loial might lead them in there, kind of how he does, or how Perrin goes in the steading in season 1 to seek safety from the Dark Friends, or not Dark Friends, the Shadow Spawn that are coming after him and everything. And so I think that they will enter an Ogier steading and maybe even see the stump in this season. But moving on from there, let's go into some of our listeners' feedback questions. So, Mike, go ahead. What do you got for us?
Okay, so this is from Matt Scoot. Again, thank you, Matt. And these predictions are pretty cool. Like, it's really funny because they're a lot of them are really close to what we were saying. And so, Matt, promise you I did not read this before today. But Matt said, my main prediction is that we get Selene meeting up with Rand solo. I think it'd also be cool. Yeah. We said that would be a really neat way to go about that. I think it'd also be cool if Varen manipulated Matt to meet up with Rand. That would be really interesting.
Because yeah, we never talked about like where we thought Varen would slide in if she has indeed been cast for season 2. I think that'd be a really nice way to kind of get her to push the rest of the group together.
Yeah, I was thinking there. My original thought was she'd be with the retired sisters and sort of join up with Moiraine that way.
That would be good too.
Yeah. 0% chance we see portal stones. Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Agreed.
Because I just think it's something that honestly was introduced in the books, and then once they learned how to travel, it was gone.
Right. It was pointless after they learned how to travel, or should I say after Rand learned how to travel and showed everyone else how to do it.
It lasted for 2 books, and that was it. Well, no.
Yeah, was it 2 books? Yeah. I don't know if they used it again later on. I can't remember.
They used that other device, I think. Anyway, Perrin / Shannarans chase Fain using Perrin's skills. Yeah, that's kind of what we talked about there. Rand meets Elaine. Selene takes Rand to Caemlyn instead of Cairhien. Ah, okay.
I like that. That's a good one.
That is, that's a really, like, we were talking about him going to Caemlyn or Cairhien, but yeah, Selene taking him there. That'd be really interesting because then we'd get that really fun side of Selene where she gets a little upset.
The fun, jealous side of Selene?
Yeah. And then Egwene and Nynaeve go to the tower. Moiraine gets summoned back. More of Varen? Falma / Tyr combined. Oh.
Ooh.
That's interesting. I don't know if...
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think that was going to happen. I think Tyr is big enough that it should get its own.
It has to be its own.
Yeah.
Well, and also, too, I think in Season 1 they did set up the location for Falma being Falma.
Right.
Now, it would be interesting if, like I was saying to you there, is that at the end of the season we have Rand stepping into Tyr. And throughout the season, he's learned more about the prophecies, and so he's going to fulfill them.
Start to fulfill them, yeah.
And then that would be really interesting for Season 3 because maybe
setting up him taking Tyr, going to the Aiel Waste, all stuff like that.
Yeah. Unless... I mean, you did bring this up at the end of Season 1. You were like, is he looking at the Aiel Waste?
So, yeah, that actually, I was going to bring this up, but that is a prediction I actually got from a Wheel of Time Facebook group that we're in.
Oh, okay.
Someone said that their theory is that Rand splits off from the group here and spends Season 2 in the Aiel Waste.
And
that
would be an interesting...
That'd be an interesting route to take. I don't think I buy it, though, because... that would mean that he would like lead the Aiel to take the Stone Tier. And also, Egwene's interactions with the Wise Ones are way too important for her not to be involved in that.
And that is a big development point for her. I think her character is going to get the most development in Season 2 and Season 3 because Season 2, well, every season probably, but like Season 2, she... becoming one of the Damani, like that was huge for her and caused so much trauma later on.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be too much to skip over. But overall, Matt Scoot, all those were fantastic. I agree with all of them outside of that last one, and Moiraine getting summoned back.
I don't think that'll happen.
I don't think that's going to happen, but you know, they did bring by her swearing her oath that way.
Yeah.
They did bring open. Yeah, they left the door open for her to get called back, which should be very interesting if that
by
happens.
Swan though, not by the Amyrlin, by Swan.
Correct. So I don't know. We'll see, and I wonder too if they'll make Swan get cut out of the tower in Season 2.
I don't think they'll have her get deposed in Season 2. I think Elaida, if they stay with Elaida taking over as Amyrlin, I think they'll have Swan deposed in Season 3. We'll see, though. We don't know at the pace they're going to take this because we don't know the episode length or how many episodes there's going to be. There's still a lot of things up in the air. How true they'll stay to the book source. All kinds of questions to ask, yeah. All right, so that's the predictions that we have going on so far. I tried to stay a little bit more grounded, little small ones, and Mike, you took a couple big swings there, so I'm interested to see how they pan out. I am
I
really
always
liking
want
your.
I always want the ability
yes.
to change my mind. I always hold
Yeah,
that.
my favorite of your predictions though has to be the one about Rand going to Camelin and then getting a little kindling relationship going with Elaine before she goes off to the tower. I think that's for sure happening, but and then
What order, we don't know.
yeah, what order? Who knows? Matt Scoot, like Mike said, I liked all of yours except for the last one there. I think that Falma and Tyr will stay separate. But again, I like the Selene call because I think that'd be the best way to introduce kind of like another Dark Friend aspect of it all into the show by having Lanfear first appear as Selene.
So thank you, Matt Scoot, for sending those in. They were excellent to read, and again, promise did not read them until today. But yeah, overall great calls, and I mean, we could end up in a year and being like, yeah, so we were all wrong.
These are extremely early off-season predictions for Season 2 before we really have any idea about what's going on. Other than that, we know Elaine has been cast. How often she'll be in the series, we don't know yet. But we're following Selena Coveney on the Instagram and Twitter, and so we will find out as much as she tells us about her role as Elaine. All right, so with that being said, anything else you got for us, Mike, or are we good to roll on out?
Oh, I think we're good today.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on this off-season episode of Wheel of Time Rewind. Next episode, let's have a little fun here. So let's do a little bit of a character draft about drafting our favorite characters from Season 1 of Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime. What do you say to that one?
Oh man, I love that idea. Let's do that. Yes. Yes. Yes.
All right. And so we'll also do a reverse draft as well, I think, just to kind of give episode length where we'll do our least favorite characters as well.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah, I like that idea. And then after that, in February, I think we're going to pull on a guest or two. We have a couple friends or a friend who has not read the books but has watched the show, and I'm excited to get his perspective on all this as well.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Really looking forward to that. And if any of you would want to come on here with us too, we're open to doing that. We've got off-season content to produce and lots of time to do it right now. But until next time, we'll see you at the next turning of the wheel. Goodbye.
Bye.